Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 11th day of April, 2024. Well, I hope you got out and got to see the eclipse if it was in your area. We had a little too much cloud cover, and so we didn't try to go out there. Plus, I didn't have glasses, so. And we weren't in the path anyway, so we wouldn't have seen much. I just watched it on TV, and I waited for pictures from our local area news in Oregon, the different ones to post what it was, and and that was fine. So anyway, but I hope if you did get to see it, it's so cool. We were in the path of totality in 2017, so it was so cool. So I hope it was you were in that area and you got to see it, or you went somewhere where it was. So anyway. Anyhow, let's get started here. It's the 11th day of April, so we have a master number 11 for the energy for the day itself. That's awakening and enlightenment and illumination, higher awareness, sort of taking over and seeing everything through that lens, if you will, which we should always be doing all the time, really, at least in my opinion. Let me find my bag here. There it is. But let's go ahead and let's take the runes for the as above side from the Elder Futhark bag, and then we'll take a rune. We'll throw down the 4 elemental runes for Geomancy and figure out what that is for the lower side or the below side, the ego side of things, to get us started here for the overall focus or significator of the reading. Excuse me. We have Othala. The pollen's really heavy around here. My husband and I are just like, oh, taking little, I don't know what they're called. Well, I mean, they're an antihistamine, but I'm not sure what the brand is. But they work, so I think it's like Zyrtec or something like that. But it's not that. It's like it. But anyway, they work. I just haven't taken mine yet this morning. But anyway, we have Othala. Othala is the 24th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's an earth element rune. It means inheritance, sacred space, loyalty, tradition, security, peace. It could be about inheritance. But it's the culmination of as the 24th rune of the Elder Futhark, it's the culmination of the journey one takes. It's very similar to the world card in the major arcana. The soul goes through all of these ideas and experiences and everything, and basically we are it's just a progressive kind of thing, really. Not to say that you don't go back and revisit different lessons and all, but I guess I view the runes as very similar in vibration to the major arcana, and as their soul archetypes, basically. And although there are some people that think Dagaz should be the end of it, the end of one phase and the beginning of a new one, I think that I finally just decided I'm going to stick with the order that I learned the runes in, and Othala is the last one. And so realistically, it's the culmination of light. You're looking at Ingus at the top, that diamond, and then you're looking at Gebo down below, the X, and all that is Kenaz. I'll explode it for you so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's about coming into your full awareness of who you are as a soul. And so if you've got, I'll draw the rune itself here, and I'll show you what I mean by that, because it's a really incredible rune, realistically. And I'll just explode it out on the sides, and you've got let's see. So you've got Kenaz everywhere. Kenaz comprises both runes. It's literally Kenaz inward and outward. And so you are drawing that awareness, that higher awareness from spirit, and expressing that in everything that you do. And so in terms of that being the culmination of the soul coming back into its awareness, Othala makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So that's why I just decided, I played around with it, for a while, and decided, although I understand what they're saying, I think I still like Othala at the the end. But again, you're looking at our ancestral heritage, the Akashic record, prosperity, balance, expression of light, inward and outward, essentially. And so that's a wonderful way to start us out here on a Thursday for the reading. And I'll go ahead and I'll throw down the 4 elemental runes here. And then we'll put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. There's air. There's water. Well, we have conjunctio. Conjunctio means union or joining. And again, joining, or you could even think of it in terms of transmuting ego into spirit. And with this 11 master number day, you've got that energy for that, of higher awareness and bringing everything into or you could think of it as understanding the collective consciousness, the collective aspect of self, if you will. The soul isn't just this individual experience. It comes from the oversoul, and from there more oversouls and more, till you get back all the way to the singularity, or the source, or the creator, right? Or all that is. That's all this is an expression of all that is. And we are just little manifestations of that. And so here, we can look at this in terms of joining together with family, or maybe given Othala here, or the collective aspect of self. And so given that, or joining together with anyone, coming together in unity with anybody, could be conjunctio. So reawakening that within maybe might be something we could use as a significator for the reading. But let's take a look at the cards and see what they have to say, because they may take us in a little bit different direction. The cards I view as the details of the reading, with the runes again as the overall focus or purpose, if you will. I've already done some shuffling here. I just need to shuffle a little bit more. And we'll cut the deck and take the lower half. Put that there. Get that out of the way. And I'll take 3 cards. Well, let's see. I'm going to start out reading this in a particular way. Let's get my little calculator out here, and we'll do the numerology really quick. We've got 24, which reduces to 6. We'll just reduce them here. Plus, we've got a 3 of wands, plus the 10, which reduces to 1 of wands, plus 20 for judgment. The major arcana card, judgment, that's a 20. That's a 2. That comes to 12, which reduces to 3. Now I'm going to double check it by doing it the regular way. 24 plus 3 plus 10 plus 20 equals 57. 5 and 7 is 12, which reduces to 3. So, okay, I did that. I like to check it both ways, but it's just easier for me if I reduce each number and then add them together. It's easier for me. Anyway, but 3 is a number of integration. So it aligns extremely well with both runes, really, because the idea of coming together with your ancestral heritage, you're making that unified connection with who you are everywhere else as well. And it just reinforces the idea of the soul is in many places at once. Okay, so, but I think I want to do this in this order. I might, toward the end, as we get through it, I might switch judgment to another place. But I think, given that we have the master number 11, if you were to, I don't reduce master numbers, by the way. If you've been here before, I've said that in the past. But with the master numbers, see, they hold such a vibration that I don't, it's a higher vibration, and I think they need to stand on their own. But if you did, you would, 1 and 1 would be 2, which would equal, here we have card 20. Of the major arcana, and that would be a 2 energy as well. So they actually do align together in that way, and I think that awakening at the end might be where we need to go. But let's see. Let's start with the 3 of wands. Now we had the 3 of wands. When did we have that? We had it not all that long ago. Oh, on the 25th of last month. Okay, we did have it. So it's been, so I am right. We had it recently. And I talked about at that time that it's helpful to look at the Two of Wands when we consider this card, because in the two, he's making a decision about his future. He's holding a globe in his hand, and all things are possible, but he has to make a decision about his future. And so he's turned in the opposite direction of here. Now he's made that decision. Oh, and one last thing. In the two, it looks like he's walking through a doorway. One is affixed to the top of a wall, and then you have a small wall say on the rooftop or something, and then he's holding the other one in his hand, and it's almost like he's stepping through a doorway. Well, here you can see that they are both affixed to the ground. He's stepped through, so he's stepped through that doorway, and now you see the ships in the yellow harbor there. He's waiting for the new opportunities to manifest, or for his ship to come in. You can think of it that way. The yellow sky, the yellow water represents the vitality of the sun and new opportunities and a new direction and a new identity and all of that. And so I think that that's why they have done this. You can see some orange also in the water as well, but it's very fiery. Yellow is also attributed to air, but so new ideas, new experiences, new direction, and all of that sort of blends into this card of the fire element, because wands reflects the fire element. But I've said this before, you will see other elements in these cards, and they just sort of all merge together and enhance the fundamental nature of it. And so I think with the three, there's three with the overall reading of three. We have integration here. He's integrated what he wants to do, the new experiences he wants to explore, and now he's just waiting for all of that to manifest. But when it does, now we can look at this card a couple of different ways. Here we have the Ten of Wands, which is the end of the initial small cards in the minor arcana. Then we move after that into the court. That's part of the minor arcana. I tend to keep it in a separate place. And I think other tarot readers do. So it kind of wears two hats in that regard. But here we have the Ten of Wands. Now 10 again, reduce 1 plus 0 equals 1. And so 1 is about new beginnings. It's about talent. It's about leadership, new opportunities, motivation, initiation. It's a very fire-oriented card. Here, though, he perhaps is carrying an unnecessary burden. He's got an awful lot going on. So whatever he was waiting for here has manifested. Now, I look at this card in another way other than carrying a heavy burden, although it could be. It just depends on the other cards if I'm going to read it that way. But here, he's leaning into the future. He's got all of his new opportunities. Maybe these are clients. Maybe he's just opened a business or something. He's an entrepreneur of some kind, a craftsman perhaps, and these are perhaps his new customers. But he's leaning into it, leaning toward what is likely his home. You've got the dual line of demarcation here, which means this is now and this is the future in a sense. He's bringing home what he's gathered together. All of his new opportunities is his potential opportunity for abundance to take home to the family and to show them, this is what I'm doing. This is the abundance we're going to have. So you can look at it that way. In terms of new opportunities, I would say, and a new direction maybe, and one that provides increased material security for his family, and that would align very well with Othala and the whole idea of tradition, sacred space, prosperity, all of that you have at the end of the journey that you take here, and even if it's not complete monetary prosperity in terms of the soul, obviously the soul doesn't actually need that, but all of the lessons learned could also be prosperity in terms of Othala. But in terms of the earthly aspect of Othala, you're talking about inheritance, what the legacy you pass on to your family, very similar to the Ten of Pentacles, where you see that sort of transition of legacy there, the transfer of legacy to the younger people in the family. And so if he's waiting for his ship to come in, if he's waiting for the new opportunities to manifest, here they have. Now, there's another element of this card that I've noticed, and he's not looking where he's going because he doesn't have to. He's going in the direction of home. He knows the way there. He can trust the process that he can get there while hanging on to everything and not really paying attention to where he's walking. He knows the way there. So there's that element of foundation there as well, and trust that, okay, I've gone out, I've collected all of these potential clients. I'm going to go home and I'm going to show my partner, my children, and we're all going to celebrate basically at all the things I've been able to do on behalf of the family. And so even if it's not a family situation, at least he goes home so he can take a look at what he's done. Or it could also be that he's taking it all back to the place that he works. If this is not the home, maybe this is his business location. It could be something like that. So in terms of the reading, and in terms of you, the querent, who's getting the reading today, maybe there's some new opportunities that are manifesting in your life, and they come at you. So, you gather them all up together. Maybe you're going to make a decision as to what you're going to do, or maybe you're just getting them all in line and you're going to do them all. But it's about taking that new direction and manifesting a new future here, and doing it in alignment with who you are as a soul, instead of just simply picking and choosing because it happens to come your way. You're seeing dollar signs, you think, oh, yay, well, that's going to happen, but there may be some things that really aren't going to pan out as well as you might think. So maybe there has to be another way of seeing it, and maybe through the lens of what's going to benefit your family. It might be something like that, particularly with Othala and Conjunctio being joining. There's other people involved in whatever's happening here. Other people will be impacted by that and basically benefit or not from whatever's happening. And so if it's a family situation, you want to go home and you're excited and you say, wow, I got all these new customers today and it's exciting. I'm going to, here's the schedule. This is what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do for them all. And this is the kind of money we're going to make. And so there's that element of bringing it home that I think comes through with the reading. And then we awaken to a new day. And that's why I said, maybe we want to put this card first. Here you see the angel Gabriel blowing his horn, awakening everyone out of their coffins. They're all raising their arms. Well, he kind of isn't, but he's kind of getting there. In supplication to the angel above, to higher awareness. If this were truly the awakening of judgment, where you go through that supposedly life review and all of that, the Red Cross here can indicate healing, but I tend to see it as the vertical and horizontal axis of becoming, in terms of the soul's experience here in form. The vertical line would be the soul's coming into this physical reality experience, and then this would be the horizontal line, would be the balance that the soul takes here. So this horizontal line would be more physical reality, and this would be the infusion of the soul into it. And so the judgment really is remembering who you are. Now, in a broader version of that, maybe you could, or maybe it wouldn't be broader, maybe it would be more ego-based. You need to remember who you are when you're doing business out in the world. You need to have the values that you came into it with. Here's your, the decision that you made in the 2 and now in the 3. You're waiting for all of that to manifest. It does. It's a lot. And so there's excitement there about that you're going to be going into something that's going to be very lucrative for you and your family. Going to bring prosperity with Othala, joining together with the family. And then awakening to that truth of who you are. And that's why I think we need to start with judgment. And I wondered that, when I first looked at it, and that's why I said what I did. So let's just do that. If we awaken to truth of who we are and what we're here to do, we then do it. We made the decision in the 2. Now we're waiting for that decision to manifest in the 3. And when it does, look what we can bring home to our family. That will mean prosperity, that will actually manifest Othala in our lives. So sometimes I think that we get, I don't want to say lost along the way, but there's this feeling of maybe a lack of direction. And if we were to have, again, if we're considering the 2 here before this 3, they find like the guy in the picture, the man of means, the merchant or whatever he is, the person going out to make his fortune, is making the decision of where that's going to manifest. How do I want that? What choices do I want to make in terms of my future? And maybe it's a departure from everything that you've been dealing with in the past. Maybe there was some confusion about what that was, about what you wanted, and maybe there was a lack of direction. So instead of going out and making your own way, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and start your own business, although it could. And so if that's what's happening, if you're considering that, then you need to awaken to who you are and as a soul, and how that's going to manifest in terms of your new experiences. And to me, what that means is you bring all the values and principles that you've gained over time, and from a higher resonance, though. So in terms of one way to look at it is the difference between service to self and service to others. Service to self is very personal, agenda oriented, and you don't really care how you get there, you're just going to get there. And so maybe it might describe somebody that uses others instead of being there to actually serve others, because when you serve others, you're creating a different type of experience between you and those people. They begin to trust you, whereas if it's service to self, maybe they know that you really don't have their interests at heart. It's just what money can you get from the experience. And so it's the conjunctio of it all that maybe determines how you want to actually manifest that into form. Is it going to be service to self, which is personal agenda oriented, or service to others, which is a more conjunctio and othala type of experience, understanding the connectedness that we have with other people, looking at everyone else as the other side of self. You're the self, and everyone else is the other side of self, if you will. If we indeed create our own reality at every moment of our life, then it makes sense to think about it that way. But whether you do or not, that's just how I see it. But whether you see it that way or you don't, you awaken with judgment to the truth of who you are and to create a better balance. Maybe you struggled with it before. Maybe you worked for somebody that wasn't as honorable of a boss, in terms of both the relationship the boss had with the people that work for him, him or her, but also with the customers that they have, people that they interact with outside of the business. Maybe he wasn't, the best individual, and if it was a he, the boss, I'll just say the boss wasn't the best individual, and maybe the values of this person weren't the best, and so it was more service to self oriented. And you see it. I mean, you see that with people that think only about themselves. It's obvious, and or at least you come to a point where it's like, whoa, so now I get who you are. And it's a really big leap between the two, between being service to self and service to others. And in terms of others, you're thinking about others. You're thinking about their about what's best for them. How can I serve them in the best way possible? So again, if you're starting your own business, the relationship you establish with your customers is extremely important in terms of whether or not you're going to get repeat business. Right? If you're thinking about them, then they feel that. They feel that connection, that union, that joining, that conjunctio that we have with the Geomancy rune today. They feel that. And they feel like, well, I don't have to worry. I can trust these people. I can trust doing business with these people. That sort of thing. And so when you awaken to that truth within, it makes it changes, I guess, how you manifest all of that in the world. And so whether you're thinking of opening a business or you've just done that and you're trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to do it all? Well, thinking about who you are from a higher perspective and how you want to engage with others is vital to the success of the business. And the 10 of Wands would suggest that once you do that and you wait for things to manifest, the seeds you've planted to manifest, well, then you have all of this lucrative opportunities maybe coming your way. So again, I guess I'm sort of taking this in the direction of work. Um, I'm not sure that it can really go in any other direction. It's just that, when we're trying to plan our future, Othala comes into it. And what's our life going to look like? What kind of, do I have the right training? Do I need more education? What do I need to do to manifest a positive and lucrative future? One that's filled with material security, one where I can transfer that legacy at some point onto the other people in my family, my children in the family. You can think of it that way. Or someone else in the family. If you don't have kids, say you've got nieces and nephews that seem, like they might be the ones that want to pick up what you've started and carry on with it. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is you have that sense of I'm going to build something with Othala. And I'm going to express myself from a higher state of awareness as I'm doing it, so that I end up regarding other people with that higher level of awareness as well, thus solidifying your future. Having people be able to say things about you, yeah, this person's really trustworthy. I recommend you go to them, for what you need to do here. They're going to do good work for you, and you can trust what they do. They're not going to rip you off. They really are there to have a positive relationship here and to do good works in the world. And so they're the people that will recommend you, see. For, again, if you're in a business, if you've started a business or you're thinking of doing that, but even if that's not the case, even if you still work with somebody else, you're going to be noticed by the boss as somebody that actually cares about the business you work for. You get people in business in places. I know my husband is the sort of guy that has, and I am too, that we care about the business that we work for. We treat it, in other words, we treat it as if it's our own. And we want to do our best jobs to make sure that business stays there and the customers keep coming back. So we're going to be that positive force, right? And there were other people in the business that did, other workers, other employees that did the same thing. But then you'd have the ones who didn't really care one way or another. And it was obvious they were late to work. They undermined other employees, their coworkers. They, if it was a situation where they make a commission off of the sales they make, maybe they undermine the other ones. And if they're with another customer, they'll take their customer they've been working with. They don't care. They care about themselves. And so that would be the perfect expression of service to self. And so they don't integrate well. And since we have an overall 3 numerology for the reading of integration, we have to be able to integrate well with others. So whether again, this is something that you're starting, a business you're starting, or whether you work in one, this just seems to me how you engage with others, both the customers and the other people you work with, matters. And it really contributes to the success of the business, whether it's your business or one you work for. But either way, if you're that kind of a person at that job, your boss is going to know that. Your boss is going to realize, hey, that you really care about whether or not we're successful here. And in doing so, you've made me successful here. You've made my business successful. See, that's the kind of attitude the boss is going to have about you. And so whether you're somebody that wants to start your own or is doing so, or you work for somebody else, how you engage with others, how you connect and integrate with others matters. And it has to be with today's 11 numerology, it's suggesting, and with Othala, it's suggesting and also judgment, it's suggesting that we do this from a higher perspective, one that understands the entire picture and your place in it. And you're there to commit to that, making that the experiences you have there the best that they can be. So in the end, the prosperity is there. Maybe the type of person you are in a setting like that, that's the legacy with Othala that you transfer to others in your immediate group, your family, whether it's a created family or the actual blood relative family, because sometimes some of us have to create our own, right? Maybe the families we come from, I don't know. You don't really feel like you fit in there. And so along the way, you gather gather people together, maybe a spouse, your own children, friends, and other people in the neighborhood, coworkers. Maybe they all become part of your tribe, see? But what is that legacy? What is that example, in other words, you set for everybody else? And judgment would just suggest that you need to awaken to who you are, and who you are as a soul, trying to have these physical reality experiences here in form. There's no separation between one and the other. It's literally the soul doing all of these things. And so how you do that matters, and integration with others matters. The cause and effect that happens matters. And the legacy that you leave behind matters. And so think about that. Think about if that resonates today, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, but think about if that happens to come up for you, or you're experiencing it now. Think about how you're approaching it. And are you approaching it with leaving behind something positive for somebody in the end? When somebody thinks of you later, if you're no longer at the job, it's like, wow, I sure wish that person was still here, because boy, we got a lot of work done, and we made a lot of money with that person in this business, and I miss them, but they've moved on, and they're going somewhere, maybe you moved to another area and you're no longer there. But the memory of you and the effect of you remains. So is it going to be something that's positive and integrative, and with an eye toward what you have to offer in terms of legacy and experience and all of that, that contributes to the prosperity of your life? Is it something like that, or are you somebody that's only interested in in doing for yourself? Because I guarantee you, the richness of the experience, the overall richness, not money, but the overall richness of the experience is in the service to others aspect of self, and not the other. The other is very, it might get you what you want, but the happiness and the connection with others and the integration that maybe you don't realize you really need to have, and maybe you think it doesn't matter, right? Well, it does. And you may find that in the end, you're left wanting. So think about that, how you express yourself in these new experiences that you're having, and the prosperity that can happen as a result. So anyhow, that's it. We went a little bit long here, but it's just an interesting reading in terms of and again, when you're looking at just a general reading and the cards are just laid down, they're not in any particular order, move them around and see what makes actual sense. And as I said in the very beginning, I think I'm going to be moving judgment to the front, but let's read it this way first. Sure enough, I think it makes more sense, especially given the 11 numerology for today, to awaken to who you really are. And then go for it. Go for it. Plan your life from that point forward, and see if it's not a different feeling for you, especially if you weren't real clear on what that was before. So, anyhow. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe. I hope you'll do that and come back again on Monday. I do this on Mondays and Thursdays. Check out the blog, Stepping Aside. The address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video. It's right there. The correspondences for Work and Magic will come out on Sunday. The forecast for the week will as well. The astrological overview will come out, and the exploring tarot card will come out. We're getting down to the end of that series, but I thought I was closer than I actually am. I went and I looked and started going, oh, well, actually I have a bunch of court cards yet to do, so that'll be fun. Anyway, and then there's some other major arcana cards that I haven't gotten to. But as I'm losing my voice here, I'll go ahead and close and say, thanks for watching. Come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.